Ladies and gentlemen, today I stand before you to address a claim that may sound bold and or maybe even provocative. The claim is the Constitution is the most controversial document in United States history. Yet, when we are examine our past and our present, we see that no other American text has shaped, divided, inspired, and challenged the nation the way the Constitution has. From the moment it was drafted in 1787, controversy surrounded it. The debates in Philadelphia were so intense that they were kept behind closed doors. And according to a 2021 historical overview by the National Archives, the delegates argued fiercely over the balance between federal and state power representation and the structure of the executive branch. So fiercely that several delegates refused to sign the final document. It was such a imperfected document that so many people had different opinions on it that it was made imperfect. Its influence, however, is undeniable. The Constitution has done a lot for America. It has set the framework for how we govern ourselves and how power is distributed. But influence does not equal unity. As historian Gordon S. Wood explained in his 1969 book, The Creation of the American Republic, the Constitution emerged out of deep ideological conflict rather than harmony. And those conflicts have continued to shape American political life ever since. One reason that the Constitution remains so controversial is the profound issues embedded within it from the start. It proclaims liberty, yet allowed slavery. It laid the foundation for democracy, yet excluded women, indigenous people, and non-landowners from the political participation. How can we claim as Americans that the Constitution is something that is sacred and that we should look up to, and everything it says is correct? But however, we still to this day have issues with certain people and certain groups politically and just in our society in general. The Smithsonian's National Museum of American History reported in 2020 that compromises like the Three-Fifth Compromise helped institutionalize racial inequality for generations. These contradictions are merely historical. They are alive today. They aren't merely historical. They are alive today. Consider the Second Amendment written for a world of militias and muskets. How can we, as today a society, when guns are completely different, use the Constitution and use the amendment, the right to bear arms, when we have such bad gun violence in America? In a 2014 lecture, Stanford legal scholar Robert McConn argued that interpreting 18th century language in a world of semi-automatic weapons, digital communication, and modern policing inevitability creates legal and political conflicts. The Constitution's vagueness and not being specific also leaves fundamental rights open to interpretation. And that is a ongoing thing with America, how the Constitution is supposed to be looked at and how it is supposed to be interpreted and to go about certain rules and things that happen and crimes. And the word privacy never appears in the document, yet modern debates over digital surveillance, reproductive rights, and online data hinge on how courts read implied rights. According to Michael Waldman's 2014 analysis for the Brennan Center for Justice, the lack of explicit protections has also contributed to decades of sharply divided rulings and political battles. Perhaps the most important reason the Constitution remains so controversial is the belief that changing it threatens America's identity. But the framers themselves expected change. The founding fathers knew society and the world would change in the future and that the Constitution could not be for generations and generations and generations. They expected Americans to change it. As Thomas Jefferson wrote in an 1816 letter to Samuel Carville, laws and institutions must evolve with the progress of the human mind, and each generation should adapt its constitution to meet the society and the modern needs. So, with this being said, not only Thomas Jefferson, but all the founding fathers knew that in a society like today, the Constitution would need to be changed, amended. And Jefferson was right. If we want a Constitution that fosters a better social and cultural impact then we must be willing to evolve it, not discard it, but strengthen it. And all it will do is bring America better. Revising the Constitution is not about erasing our history. It is about learning from it. It is about fulfilling the promise of liberty, equality, and justice to everybody, all Americans. And for this document to continue guiding our future, it must be reshaped by the voices of all Americans today, not in the 1700s, but in the 21st century. So yes, the Constitution the Constitution is the most controversial document in United States history. But controversy is not a sign of failure. It is a sign of engagement. And all it will do is better our nation. The question before us is whether we will cling to the contradictions of the past or boldly shape a constitution that reflects the justice, equality, and dignity we want for our future. Thank you.